Hey guys, what is going on? This is Wrestlelamia, back with another episode. The news never stops, and neither does Wrestlelamia. Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including, is Shawn Michaels' past coming back to haunt him? AEW really crushing the WWE in ticket sales? A former WWE superstar accuses The Undertaker of bullying, a new look for Keith Lee, Chris Jericho forgives Tommy Dreamer, and more. Shawn Michaels' past coming back to bite him? Topping our news today, are WWE Hall of Famer Shawn Michaels' partying days coming back to haunt him? Now that the controversy surrounding the plane ride from hell has been reignited, more stories are emerging of wrestlers drugging women and taking advantage of them. Wrestlelamia knows the allegations are much more severe than this, but we can't go into detail thanks to YouTube's Moral Crusaders. Now, Shawn Michaels' name is being dropped as a past offender thanks to a kayfabe commentaries interview with former WWE superstar Brutus the Barber Beefcake. Michaels wasn't the only one named, as Beefcake mentioned how both Shawn and his former Rockers tag team partner Marty Jannetty used H-bombs, aka Halcyon, a powerful sedative, on unsuspecting women. Listen, the Rockers love those Halcyons, man. They freaking boom. They'd drop them on all the broads, and then they'd get them back to the room, and they'd pass out, and then the Rockers would take the laundry off, and they'd have a good time with them, and then throw them out in the hallway and shit naked. Needless to say, they got in trouble in a few hotels. Are these stories true? Given what we know about wrestling's history of toxic masculinity, it's possible, but is it probable? Regardless, you can be sure that Shawn Michaels' name is going to be front and center as fans ask him what happened. Marty Jannetty, on the other hand, has cultivated a reputation for wild living that continues to this day, and is likely bulletproof simply because he's so far removed from the spotlight. Anyone who has watched shoot interviews or read wrestling memoirs knows about the claims of some wrestlers engaging in what could only be called criminal behavior. Recently, former manager and wrestling personality Missy Hyatt tweeted about what she saw during her time in wrestling during the 80s and 90s. My opinion on the culture depicted in Dark Side of the Ring. Old school wrestling. It was sadly not frowned upon exposing yourself to a stranger, H-bombing coworkers, or even strangers. It was part of the culture at the time. I don't condone it. Glad the new generation is wiser. It would not fly in a non-wrestling job or outside most social settings. That's why most jobs have legitimate human resources to handle these matters. What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. Clickbait caution, AEW crushing the WWE in ticket sales? Time for another don't believe everything you read report, as some news sites are reporting on AEW crushing the WWE, but failing to report on the details or keep things in context. Both WWE and AEW have live events coming to the UBS Arena in Long Island this November. According to the Twitter account WrestleTix, AEW has sold 6,167 tickets, while the WWE has sold just 2,450 tickets. While this is definitely great news for AEW and things look bad by comparison for WWE, it's important to remember that WWE's recent SmackDown Super Show at Madison Square Garden had poor ticket sales for some time, but ended up being a record-breaking event for the Blue brand. AEW's Long Island event is a dual taping for Dynamite and Rampage, while WWE's event is for Raw. It's better to wait and see what the final ticket sales are before reporting the WWE getting crushed. Did The Undertaker bully former WWE superstar? The wrestling world is a bizarre one on-screen and even more so off-screen, something which Wrestlelamia has documented in our Final Bell series and which has been brought up on various Dark Side of the Ring episodes. One constant theme is that of wrestlers bullying other wrestlers, something former WWE superstar Rene Dupree discussed on an episode of That 90s Wrestling podcast. Dupree alleges that The Undertaker ordered other wrestlers to bully him because he did not go out to the bar with other wrestlers. They took my $500 shoes and $1,000 suit and ruined it in the shower because I didn't go out drinking at a bar the night before because nobody invited me. That's just materialistic shit. You can replace that. That doesn't bother me. That was just the beginning for Dupree as he discussed what happened next. What really bothered me is when in Italy the next night, they took my French flag, my heritage, they shoved it in a toilet and pissed and shit all over it. I don't know what bullshit world you live in, but in my world that's called racial discrimination. That was really hurtful. Dupree talked about how he tried to resolve the problem. What I did do was I went to Arn Anderson, who was the agent, and I asked him. Arn's advice to me was, don't sell it. I was like, okay. The next person I went to was the Undertaker, and I said, what do you do when someone does this to you? And he goes, well, you find out who does it. He ordered them to do that because I didn't go out drinking with him and the guys at the bar. While The Undertaker hasn't commented on the situation, there have been so many stories of backstage bullying that Dupree's accusations can't be ruled out. Longtime fans and Wrestlelamia viewers will likely recall the story of how the British Bulldog's so-called pranks, which other wrestlers claim crossed the line into bullying, led to wrestler Jacques Rougeau sucker-punching the Dynamite Kid, knocking out 4 of the Bulldog's teeth. As a number of former wrestlers and pundits have pointed out, the backstage behavior that was condoned in the wrestling world would likely lead to lawsuits galore in many other workforces. Tommy Dreamer apologizes for controversial comments. Tommy Dreamer is speaking out following the controversial comments he made on the Plane Ride from Hell episode of Dark Side of the Ring, comments which led to Dreamer's indefinite suspension from his role in Impact Wrestling. In case you missed our previous video, Dreamer commented on Flair's behavior as well as the flight attendant who settled out of court with WWE for the alleged behavior that took place on the infamous flight from 2001. One of Dreamer's comments that seems to have gotten him in hot water was his remark about the flight attendant who settled out of court. If that's how she felt, maybe she should have not taken a payout and went to the fullest extent of the law to then truly put this heinous person in jail. My opinion. Dreamer posted the following apology on Instagram and Twitter. Regarding my comments made on Dark Side of the Ring, it was never my intention to offend, hurt, or victim shame anyone. I understand my comments were insensitive and could trigger emotions in someone's own personal past. I do not condone sexual misconduct of any kind. I apologize to anyone I offended. From the bottom of my heart, I am so sorry. Chris Jericho, who narrates Dark Side of the Ring, replied to Dreamer's social media message by saying, "Forgiven." Knowing some of the overly sensitive social media types, how long before Chris Jericho is called out for daring to say "forgiven"? Further evidence on a Keith Lee heel turn. Is a new look a sign of a heel turn for current Raw wrestler Keith Lee? If so, it could be a good step for the talented tumbler, as it's been a rough year for the former NXT champion, as 2021 saw the Limitless One reportedly grapple with a life-threatening COVID-19 related illness. This resulted in Lee's absence from WWE TV and endless speculation by fans wondering what was going on with his career. While Lee has returned to wrestling, he hasn't been on TV much, in fact not since early August. However, Lee has been working in dark matches and live events, with rumors that the WWE is preparing him for a heel turn when he returns to WWE TV. A recent photo from a WWE house show has some fans and wrestling insiders thinking the heel turn is inevitable. WrestleTalk's Liam Winnard commented on a photo shared to Reddit that shows Keith Lee with a beard. WWE Raw star Keith Lee has changed up his look ahead of a possible heel turn when he makes his on-screen return. Reddit user Manow101 shared an image of Lee from a house show in North Charleston, South Carolina from this past weekend, and as you can see, he's grown his facial hair back. While the new look doesn't confirm anything, the idea of a heel turn sounds promising for Raw, assuming the WWE doesn't trade him to SmackDown, as he'd make a great opponent for current WWE champion Big E and might even join the Hurt Business, which is hurting not only due to Bobby Lashley losing the WWE Championship, but MVP being sidelined due to undergoing knee surgery. Lee truly does live up to his nickname, the Limitless One, and Raw could do well with another dominant heel. Scott Steiner returns to the ring. Last but not least, Keith Lee isn't the only wrestler who has returned to in-ring action. Former WWE and WCW superstar Scott Steiner battled WWE Hall of Famer Jerry the King Lawler in the main event at Jerry Lawler's Wrestle Reunion show held over the weekend in Robbinsville, Mississippi. The 71-year-old Lawler defeated the 59-year-old Steiner in a match that no doubt made fans of Big Papa Pump happy, not so much because he counted the lights for Lawler, but because of concerns over Steiner's health following his collapse at an Impact show in early 2020. Well guys, there you have it, the wildest news, stories, and rumors you need to know in wrestling. What do you think of these stories and rumors? Be sure to leave your comments, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time for some more wrestling content.